Differential equations. We've got 5.1 day 4 finishing up this problem. If you look at the top of the screen, you can see that we're trying to get this alternate form of our two trig functions added together. We'd like a sine of 3t plus phi. We found a just a moment ago. The big question is, can we find phi? And of course, phi is going to be tied to these two constants, c1 and c2. c1 was -2, c2 is -2/3. And to help us, we just need to review and remember that the sine of phi was c1 over a, and the cosine of phi was c2 over a. And then, of course, following this up, we could say that the tangent of phi, of course, is c1 over c2. Well, c1 is negative, and a right here is positive, so I know that my sine of phi is a negative ratio, a negative value. c2 is also negative, so divide that by a, and we have something negative as well. So where is sine and cosine simultaneously negative? Well, if you think about it, that's only going to occur in quadrant 3. So phi is in the third quadrant. Now, if we're looking for phi, we could use any of those three trig functions to find them. But perhaps it would be good to just take our c1 divided by c2, -2, divided by -2/3. Well, the negatives cancel, and you have 2 times 3 halves. You're really saying, when is tangent going to equal 3? Well, we can very quickly get a calculator out, even a TI-84. Check our mode, make sure we're on radians, and we can say inverse tangent of 3. Of course, we're getting about 1.249. Now, there's a problem with that. That's not in the third quadrant. Inverse tangent, remember, always will give you angles between -π/2 and +π/2, not including these endpoints. And because we have a positive value, we would have this 1.249 in the first quadrant. That's a reference angle. So the big question is, how do we get to that third quadrant? Well, we have a angle that's clearly over here. This is what phi is. But by the way, we know our reference angle is 1.249. So we're going to go 1.249 past pi. So we're almost done. Just get this typed out real quickly. We could even say plus pi right here. And it looks like we'll be at 4.391. We could truncate or round. But remember, we said that ultimately we wanted to get this yellow highlighted form here. We wanted to say that x was equal to a sine, as you looked at that, 3t plus phi. We now know a. We found that at the end of our last video. It was 2 radical 10 all over 3. And then we also have, and by the way, forgive me, that x right up there does have that e to the -t out in front. We have to be very careful with that. We'll have our e to the -t. And then we'll have our 2 radical 10 all over 3 times the sine of 3t plus 4.391. Here's your altered form for x. So we found, just recopying what we did at the first video, we found this one answer that involved cosine and sine simultaneously. But then we have this altered form, and the benefit of which is you only have one trig function to look at. You'd know the amplitude, and you have a nice, easy way to answer questions about position. So that's it for 5.1 day 4.